I'm here. Sorry about that, bit of a delay to the start. How's everyone today? Let's have a look who we've got. Hopefully the music's alright. I've had some issues with it just before the stream as well. Just check on who we've got. Oh wow. So we've got Andy Magic Knight, Prince Phase, Stepz, Old School Coder, Ghostly Coding, Foray, Amok, Zork, Hacksaw, Hayes, who else? SG Hurst, Zap Italia, Just 80. I think that's everybody. Chiz, Stepz. I don't know if I covered Stepz already. Zupa Dan. Yeah, I think that's everybody. And Mr. G as well. Oh, and Richmond Mike. Hey guys. So yeah, tonight we're going to do some hardware scrolling. Let me just turn my music down a little bit. I am going to drink tonight as well. I've actually got a box of wine this time. Oh yeah. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you the charpad file I've been working on. So based on the original assets from the Let's Code a Game stream, actually I need to just edit this a little bit. I need to move this guy over a little bit. So basically we're going to take this file and we're going to animate it in a few different ways, and we're going to use parallax to do it, and it's all going to be scrolling in one direction as well. Let me just need to make sure this all fits perfectly on the screen. Not quite, hang on. So we'll go through we'll go through how to scroll the screen. We'll start with one line, then we'll expand on that to do the entire screen, and then I'll show you how to use rasters to do various parts of the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a static area, which is going to be this sky piece up here, and then we're going to have a slow moving piece, which will be this bit here. Then we'll have a faster moving piece, which will be the foreground, and then we're going to have some character based scrolling in these areas here for a bit of parallax as well. So it should be fine. So these assets are Monster Go Boom assets. Yeah, I think he shared these on itch.io. Recently for everybody to use. I've actually updated them slightly as well, so I've made them multicolor instead of high res, which they were before. So let's set up a basic upstart. Enter here. This is going to be our main code, and we're going to put our assets somewhere else. So I need to export a few things from here. So I need the map. Now the map is 256 wide. There's a good reason for that, which I'll come to shortly. So let's export the character set first. So and I'll share all this after the stream as well. And I'm going to export the attributes, so the colors, and we're going to go through the difference between single color and full color scrolling as well, and the advantages and disadvantages of both. And then we're going to export the map as well. So we've got our three files. So we've got a character set, which we need to import into our Vic bank. So our Vic banks go from 00 to 3 FFF, and then from, so they take up 16k each, and there's 4 of them. Oh, and I can hear the alerts nicely. Thank you for the bits, Amok. Very much appreciated. And this is actually a sub request from Amok as well. So these are the 4 Vic banks. I recommend using either this bank or this bank for your Vic stuff, just because these two have character ROMs in them, and if you use these, you have a block of about 4K in the middle that you can't really use for Vic stuff. So we're gonna put our assets up in the top. I kind of like stuff up at the top, so we're gonna put our stuff here. Save this as horizontal. There we go. So this is where we're going to store our stuff. So we'll have our screen at C00, and we'll put our char set at C800. So let's import the char set first. So when you set one of these, program counter markers, you can also give it a label, and that means when you compile it, you'll see it in the memory map down here, which is really useful. And then we're going to import binary. Okay, cool. So one of the tricks we use in a Vic bank is to only use the Vic bank for Vic stuff. If you've got stuff that isn't directly part of the Vic bank, so in this case a map and the colours, put it somewhere else. So we're going to have our map data at 8000. We'll put it here, and we'll import binary. Map.bin, here we go. And then we need colours. So the thing with colours is we will need to look them up, so it's a good idea to give it a label so you can use it later, so you don't have to work out where it is. Actually, we can put the char, because we'll need the char one as well, so might as well put that in. Cool, so that's our stuff imported into the right place. So now all that's left to do is to set things up properly. So as usual, we're going to do the same kind of basic start. So I always like to do everything, wrap everything in a set interrupt, disable, clear interrupts, and then create our main kind of loop here. So we'll call this loop. Oops. So we'll do our setup, and then it will jump into this loop and keep repeating this. Just move that down a little bit. Right, so what do we need to do in the setup? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to bank out kernel and basic. Before I do that, actually, I'm going to turn off the interrupts for the CIA. So this banks out the kernel and ROM. You can check this on the memory map. There is a link somewhere, I think. Do the labels get proper names this time? They do, yes. after the mess that it was last time, definitely gonna keep that. it was a bit too crazy last time. That wine's pretty good for a boxed wine, to be honest. Okay, so now we need to pick a Vic bank. So you pick a Vic bank by changing the bottom 2 bits of the 00, I believe. I could never remember. I think it is DD00. In fact, I'm almost positive it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, and to set the last bank, we set it to 0. So the banks they count down from the top to bottom. So this bank is the top bank, so it's 0. The next one down is 1. The next one down is 2, and the one at the beginning of memory is 3. So we're going to set 0 and store it there. So this sets our Vic bank. Now we need to set the screen, and this is stored in D018. So D018 consists of 2 nibbles, as well every byte does, but the data is important in both of those nibbles. So the top 4 bits, the upper nibble, is the pointer to the screen memory. So we're going to put the screen at C000, which is at the beginning of the bank. So that's at 0. So there are 16 different screen locations. They range from 0 to 15, and they basically count from C00 all the way up to FC00, 400 at a time, or 1K at a time. So we're going to set 0, which is the first bank for the first pointer for screen memory. And then we need to set where the character memory is. So the character memory is at C800. So this is in the second potential place. So you could have C100, pardon me, C800, and that's the next 3 bytes. So 001, and the last next 3 bits. Sorry, and the last bit doesn't matter. The last bit can be anything. So set 0 for that. And there we go, we've set the character set, and we've set the screen, and we've set the Vic bank. So now if we run this, we should actually can't open file assets. bin. Oh, where did I actually save this? I don't know where I just saved this. The wrong place, that's where. Okay. There we go. So there we go. We've got a screen showing. I mean, it doesn't have anything in it because that screen area is blank. So let's go and put something in it just to check it. So I'm going to create a function down here. I'm just going to call it clear screen, and this is basically going to take whatever's in the accumulator and it's going to store it at our screen RAM location, which is at C00. Actually, let's make a label for a screen RAM. So this is just literally just clearing the screen with a character that we define. So we're gonna jump to it, but we're gonna pass it something that we know will display. So let's pass it 240. Helps if I actually change these as well. There we go. So there you go. We can see we've got access to the screen at that location now. So we're going to create another function called draw map start, and the job of this is going to be to take the data from our map, the very beginning of our map, and draw it to the screen. I'm just going to call it draw map full actually, and what this is going to do is it's going to take x as a parameter, which is going to be indexed into the map, and then it's going to draw the entire map across the screen. So we're going to put the number 28, which is 40, which is the length of a row. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a little for loop in here. This is just to save us repeating stuff. This for loop will actually create this code at assembly time. And what we're going to do is we're going to load data from char map, x, and store it at screen RAM plus 28 times I, because each row is 40 along, so this is going to pick a different row, comma y. Actually, this should probably be 0. There we go. Then we can increase x, increase y, and if y is not at 28, jump back to there. So now instead of doing this, if we do jump full from 0, and we need to put x in there. There we go. Relative address is legal, jump distance is too far. Okay, so invert these. Oh, and this needs to be plus 100 times I. So our map is stored in memory. In fact, I'll show you in the debugger in a minute how it's stored in memory. There you go, you can see it. So if we look in the debugger, assuming it come on, there we go. And we go and have a look in memory where that is. So if we go into this mode, it's actually kind of hard to see, but you can just about make it out. It's kind of difficult because it's not very bright. But you can see our map is basically here all the way across. So each row is a different line of the screen. So the first line of the screen up here starts at 8,000, then 8,100, 8,200, 8,300, and so on all the way down. That's why we kept the map at 256. It makes it really easy to do. Okay, let's catch up a little bit. ZX Rectrum, I like that, Rectum. Okay, RPG Scroll Magic. Oh my god, I've typed RPG so many times. I hope that now Discord no longer beeps for people when that room's being used, because I have tried to mute it for the server. So do let me know if it still pings you when people use it. It shouldn't do. If not, I can only apologise. It's very addictive though. Okay, so we're going to set the colours up now. So we need to set multicolor mode. So let's do it before we do the map because it's part of this fix up here. So multicolor mode is D016. And it's bit 4 of D016. So the easiest way to do this is load in D016 and just turn on bit 4 using OR. So you do an OR, set bit 4, and then store it back again. And that should give us multicolor mode now. There we go. So now we need to set our colours. So let's go and have a look at what we have in here. So we have transparent as blue, which we've got. Multicolor 1 as black, but it's currently white. Multicolor 2 as brown, but it's currently red. Okay. And border as black. So let's set the border to black. And then let's set our multicolors. So D020 and D021 on the background, sorry, the border and the background. And then the next two are the extra background colours. So you've got, I think this should be black, so we'll store that at D022. And this one should be brown, so we'll store this at D023. So these are all colours, background colours basically. Does kit pump out complete assembly? I'm not sure actually. If it might do in the bin folder somewhere. But this is where the debugger comes in handy. So you can load the debugger up. You look at your code here, and then if you press Control Shift F3, you can see the code in here. Actually shows the for loop as well. But if you scroll through, you can see here. This is the for loop, and you can see we're still in the for loop here. So the stuff on the left is exactly what's being drawn. What's being created, and the stuff on the right is the original source code. Thank you for the host, Hayes. Appreciate it, dude. I can't remember how to get out of that now. Thank you for the follow, Coyote Metal. Oh, I read that. Well, it's full of leet speak. I still read that. Cool, so we're kind of halfway there, but as you can see there's no colour RAM in here at the moment, which means we're not seeing, everything is blue, because the original colour RAM is blue. So if I go into the monitor actually, so if I go, I need to turn my settings on unfortunately. Thank you for the host, Andy. It's really warm tonight, really warm. Okay, so if I go into my monitor and I fill the colour RAM with white. Oh, actually, I need to fill it with multicolor value. Oops, D800, DC100. Okay, there we go. And that's black. Oh, God, I'll get it right in a minute. There you go. So you can see we've got multicolor areas, but then we've got some areas that are using the charcoal, and the charcoal is white all over the screen, so it's not exactly right. So, but what we're going to do first is we're going to scroll a little portion of this screen. So we're just going to pick one line, and we're just going to scroll that, so I can show you how the scrolling works. So we're the whole screen's gonna shift, but only one line is actually gonna scroll along. So we're not gonna do the color yet. We'll look at the color soon. So in this loop here, well, first thing to note is if we try to just draw this map every frame, it would take quite a lot of time to do that. So what you need to do is you need to think about how you can limit how much you actually load and store. And how you go about doing that. So what we're going to do, we're just going to start with, we're going to call it rough shift, and this is, or let's just call it shift map. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can either just draw the bit that you care about. Let me load it up again. You can either just draw the bit that you care about, like the bit on the side, and shift everything else along. So you shift the entire screen over and just draw the new bit that's coming to the screen. Or what you can do is you can just draw like a moving window basically. So in the same way we've got this draw map full, we could do something like this. So if I create a map position and put a byte in here. In fact, we'll start like this. It's probably the easiest way. So we'll put a byte in here, and then in this thing we'll increment the map position. And then we'll load X with map position and jump to draw map full. So there you go, very basic scrolling. Now this is only doing a rough scroll, which you'll see if I slow it down. This isn't doing a smooth scroll at all. And in fact what it does when it gets to the end is it starts looping onto the next line, so it's not ideal this at all. The other problem with this as well is it's redrawing this entire screen every frame, which you are going to have to do, but the one easier way to do this is to shift things. So let's start by looking at different ways we can draw this. So this is one way of drawing the map. So let's put some border color changes in, and let's put a little branch thing up here. So we'll start FF. We'll use a proper raster soon, but for now we'll just do this. So this is just so we can see how long this is taking. So you can see this is taking thanks for the bit, Hayes. So you can see this is using a fair amount of the raster time to do. The other problem we've got here as well is this is doing column by column. So what you'll see is as we get to this side and the raster comes down, you get glitches as we go along. So this is problematic for this reason, because of the way we're drawing this. So the next thing we can try is trying to draw this map in a different order. So at the moment we're doing it column by column, so we're going through 25 rows, but we're doing it one column at a time. So instead we're gonna switch it, or we're gonna do. I'm gonna keep these in here and just comment them out as we go, and put a little comment here. So this is columns left to right. And so this time what we're going to do rows top to bottom. So this is a little bit different. We'll keep shift map because we're going to do a different routine in a minute. I need to top my wine up. You know what, for a cheap boxed wine that really isn't that bad at all. Okay, so let's get rid of all of this. So we need to draw again. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to do one row at a time. So we're going to start at the top, we're going to move to the bottom. So the easiest way to do this is first of all we set up our char map. So we use self-modifying code for this. It's the easiest and quickest way to do this. So we take the top byte of our char map and we store that in, we'll call it map mod, which will be here. And we're going to store x, which is our map position, in, oh sorry, that should be map mod plus 2, map mod plus 1. Okay, so this is going to be grabbing the data that we need. And then the next thing we need to do is, well, we'll do this first, is the screen RAM. So we need to take the top byte of the screen RAM and store that at screen mod plus 2. We don't need to do the second byte of this because it's always going to start at 0, 0. The top left of the screen is always going to be 0, 0, and this is going to be store. And then at this point, I find the easiest way to do this is to have a counter that you can count down. So we're going to have a counter which is how many rows we've got, which is 25, so 19 in hex. And then you have your X register, which you can count. Yeah, you can count backwards as well for speed. So keep that at 27. So what you're going to do is you're going to load from the map using the X as an index, store it to the screen, like so. And then you're going to decrease x until it's negative, and you're going to loop this bit here. Then when you've finished, what you need to do is you then need to increment just this one bit here, just the top pipe, because we're moving on to the next row of the map. So we're going to increment that one, and then we're going to do a little bit of addition here. So easiest way to do this is just to add. So screw mod +1, add 28 because we're moving on to the next row. Store that there. There we go. You can probably do, you can probably save a little bit of time here actually by doing this. So if the carry is clear, just skip over this bit. Yeah, let's do that. I think it will save a cycle or two. And change that to an increment. There you go. And then here you decrease the y value, and as long as that's still positive, we'll go back to loop, which will be at the top. I'm going to rename that to loop. The reason I'm doing that is because I've already got a thing there. And this should draw all 25 rows, but now it should do it from top to bottom. Let's give that a quick test. Why is that not running? So this is what we have at the moment. I'd say that's kind of, it's kind of hard to tell exactly where that is, but we should be able to tell when we run this how close it is. Oh, I went completely wrong. Did I not put an RTS in there or something? Take that up. Still wrong. Was it wrong? Okay. Take the top part of screen round, put it in here. That's correct. Take the top part of char mod, put it in here. Store X in the first bit. Yep. Oh, it's because actually we need an outer loop as well. Oops. Wrong button. So this bit here should jump to the outer loop because we need to reset the X again every time. So there we go. So this is taking a lot longer this time, but now it's not glitching because it's actually doing it ahead of the raster. You see there's very little glitching going on. There's a glitch when you reach the end of the map, but there's very little actual glitching going on. If we compare that to, it's kind of hard to tell at that speed, to be honest. So this one is using less raster time, but you can see it's struggling because as the raster reaches the top here and it's trying to draw these last few columns, it's getting confused as to which it should be drawing and what the previous state was. Thank you for the follow, Caspius Labs. Welcome to the stream. So again, if I just put that 100%, there we go. Actually, it seems slower than the other one. Why does that seem slower? Did I have it on 200 or something? Thank you for the follow, Bunny Pal. Welcome to the stream. Oh, I'm doing something wrong there, aren't I? What am I doing wrong? That seems to be moving way quicker for some reason. So that I was doing like whole screens for some reason. So it goes through this, decreasing until X is negative, then it comes to here, which increases the row on here, and increases the row on the screen, and then jumps back to here, which repeats the same thing. Huh. I don't know what's going on there. Something seems to be moving way too fast. huh? Is it doing too many rows or something? No, it should be doing 25 rows. It's moving way too quick. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm just wondering if this is going around too many times or something. Oh, it's because we're using branching plus and that's going to fail. It needs to be a branch if not equals. I think that's right. It's probably going to miss off one line now. Still seems too quick though. Y's persisted here. No, Y's not used anywhere else in here, so. Screen mods to map mod. Map mod should increase by 1, yes. Screen mod. It's not a good start, is it? What have I done wrong here? I feel like I've done something stupid and I can't for the life of me think what it is. Plus 0, no, because they're self-mod, so it should be correct. Oh god damn it, what have I done wrong here? Right, take the upper byte of screen RAM, C0. In fact, let's run it in the debugger. Let's have a look in the debugger. See what's going on. So this is what's actually running now. If we put a breakpoint on the map mod, we should see this kind of go from. Actually, this looks wrong already here for some reason. Do you know what we need to make? We actually do need to reset this to 0, because when we've drawn the entire screen, the second byte of this screen wrap mod has been adjusted by this code here. So the next time we come in, that's going to be wrong, and it means that things are going to shift around like crazy. There we go. Much better. So you can see this is taking a little bit longer, but now we're avoiding that glitch. So there isn't a glitch here. There is a little bit of a kind of jump as it gets to the end of the map, but that's just because of the way it wraps around. But you can see, yeah, thanks, Andy. That's exactly what it was. You can see it takes quite a lot of time, and this only increases the more we try and kind of do things with this. The more it increases, and the simple fact of the matter is that it is expensive to move 1,000 bytes, to redraw 1,000 bytes on the screen. So another technique is the shift map, and what shift map does is we use an unrolled loop, and we go through the rows. So we're going to go through each row one at a time. And then what we're going to do in that row is we're going to set a little loop up, which is going to take everything. Actually, we're going to use Y because X is already being used. We're passing X in as a value. We're basically going to shift everything over by one byte. So we're going to start at 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to load screen RAM plus 28 times I. So this is the beginning of each row, comma Y, plus 1, comma Y, so 1 character in from the beginning of each row, and we're going to store it at the same row but one character to the left of it, and we're going to do that all the way along. And we're going to compare when we get to 26, we don't need to do any more. And we do that for every row. And then at the end of each row, what we can do is we load, what's it called, char map. Char map plus 100 times I, so we get the actual row, plus 27 or 28. I'll have to check that in a minute. It's either going to be 27 or 28. Basically, the end of the screen, comma X, which is our map position here, and we're going to store that at. We definitely store it at I plus 27. That's not comma Y this time, and that's shift map. So so load X, map position. So this time what we're doing is we're shift row, shift rows to left, top to bottom. Okay, it's failed. What is it failed? Increase Y, take the next one, store it in the previous one. I think this might need to be 28 actually. Nope. Oh, for the wrong here. Load away with 0. Load the current screen row plus 1 more Y and store it in the previous one. Then go on to the next. So on and so on. Maybe that gets to be 27. Yeah, there we go. So you can see this is using again quite a bit more, but this has one advantage in that we can speed this up quite a lot. So in fact we can speed this one up as well. So we'll do it with the shift map, and the reason I'd say to do it with the shift map is because when you start doing color RAM as well, this method relies on you having to go and then look up the color for each of these characters and post it to the screen, which is basically another whole, it basically doubles the size of these things. Whereas with shift map, you don't care what the colors are, you're just copying the colors that are already on the screen. You're not going to having to go and look those up. So this method is kind of the preferred method for doing things. Interestingly, Iridium uses this first method here. Sorry, it uses this second method here. Going through each row one at a time, and what Andrew Braybutt does is he starts the routine just behind the raster, so as the raster starts going down the screen, it's drawing rows behind it, and he's timed it perfectly so as the last row is drawn, it catches the raster, so you never get any glitch in it whatsoever. It's also only scrolling, I think, 18 lines, so there's quite a large panel at the top. And there's a lot of empty space at the top of the screen. I think there's like 2 characters on the top and bottom of empty space. So there's a lot of kind of speed saving tricks there, and also it's not scrolling color as well, so it does make it very quick. I mean, if we were to do this second one now, if we did exactly that, if we cut it down to 18 lines and just show you how quick this can be. So this is only going to scroll the top 18 lines, but you'll see it's much quicker. In fact, it's not done anything. Why has it not done anything? Why did it not do a thing? Oh, because I got rid of the loop there. There we go. You can see it's much neater. And what he does is he starts this around about when the raster gets to about here, he starts it. So by the time it's actually got to the bottom of drawing the map, the raster is free to do what it wants. So it's quite easy to free up quite a lot of room. And there's optimizations you can make in that as well. So this, again, it's not the most efficient way of doing it. You could get rid of these by unrolling these loops a little bit. It would get rid of all of this, and you can really speed that up. So for instance, if instead of doing it this way, it's loading from the map to here. Yeah, so instead of doing this here, you would unroll a loop around this bit here, which would basically do, well, let's do it. Let's do a draw map 3. Let's do the same thing, but let's unroll it this time. So draw map full 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to unroll this portion here. So this is the loop that we're interested in. This is the bit that's going to repeat basically. So we're going to unroll the outer loop around this. So we'll do a loop. We'll do for var I equals 0, I is less than 25. We'll do, let's put the other one back to 19 rows again. Sorry, 25 rows. So we'll do full 25 rows. Like so. And this is what we're going to repeat in it. So we're going to repeat this block of code in the middle. So what do we need from this block of code? Okay, so we need to know, first of all, we need our X register to actually start at this value here. So I'm going to, how can I do this? Let's put it in the Y register. So we're just going to transfer it to the Y register. Then at the beginning of this loop, the first thing that it's going to do. Oh no, actually, let's store it. Let's store it in 0 page. So I'm just going to put it in FF. That's a free 0 page register. I'm going to load FF there. And then what we'll do is we'll have Y, which is our entire row, because we're going to measure how long it takes us to go across a row. And this time we're going to decrease Y, go across. So this one here now needs to be char ram plus I times 100 comma X. So we don't need to do any of this crap here that we were doing before. And this second one, we do need to, actually it needs to be increase Y. So hang on, increase Y and increase X here, pair Y 28. I'm going to tell you another saving as well later on, when you can save about 2 or 3% on scrolling these screens. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's guaranteed all the time. And now we don't need a comma X here, so this is usually a 4 or 5 cycle depending on whether you go over the screen or not. We don't actually need that anymore. This will be, actually no, we do need it. We'd have to unroll both. In fact, we'll unroll both in a minute as well. So okay, that should give us a full thing. So, well, we'll unroll it fully in a minute. So I just want to see what improvement that's made. I don't think that's going to make an awful lot actually to begin with. It's going to be the second unrolling that's going to change it all. Char map. And I'm going to go for a quick break in a minute as well. For some reason that's only scrolling the top half of the screen. It's actually taking longer as well. I don't know why that's doing that. How's that taking longer? That's taking way longer. Oh, first of all, that should be 28. So I think that's going to fix our. Okay, it is taking longer as well, so that didn't unroll very well. All right, let's ignore that unroll. The thing is you would probably want to do these shifting routines anyway, and these shifting routines do unroll quite well. So because you're just scrolling the entire screen across, you don't really care where you are in the map. You're just scrolling the entire screen across. You can see there. There you go. So the proper way to unroll this shift thing completely, so you see we're still taking quite a lot of space up here. So the proper way to unroll this is to first of all draw the column that you want to, the new column. The reason you want to draw that first is because you need to draw that straight down the screen. You need to do that before any of the raster gets to it, or else it's going to glitch. So we start with a very, very quick routine. And then we unroll here, and the reason we need to unroll it here and not here is because we're going to unroll this inner loop, and that's going to break this bit, but this bit won't. So yep, so keep that the same, keep that the same. So there we go. So this draws this entire column first, and now we're going to unroll this middle loop as well. So the disadvantages of unrolling is that this takes up a lot of memory. So you'll see when we look at the different memory locations for these things, just how much memory they take up. But when you want to do fast scrolling, it's definitely the best way of getting a speed boost if you can afford the memory. So we no longer need to do that. So that's 2 cycles saved per line per. 25, so that's 50 cycles saved. We don't need to do these as indexed lookups. We just need to grab like that. Now I think load indexed is 4 cycles, but store indexed is 5 cycles. So that saves 1 cycle per copy, so that's 1,000 cycles. So already we've saved what's that for 1,000 cycles? That's about 2 character lines worth of savings there, just by doing that. And then also we no longer need to do this increase, this compare, and this branch. So this is 6 cycles per line, so that's another 150 cycles or so. So we saved over 1,000 cycles here, but at the cost is we're using a lot more memory to do this. Actually, it's a lot more than 1,000 cycles, but yeah, you can see it's scrolling really quickly across here. So there is still a little bit of a glitch down this side, but you can see the map is working perfectly fine in the middle, and this is where 40 column mode comes in handy. Sorry, 38 column mode comes in handy, because if you turn 38 column mode on, which we'll do in here, which is D016, I think. I'm going to get it wrong, aren't I? No, it is D016, bit 3 of D016, so it's this one here. And it needs turning off to be 38 column mode, so to turn that off, we need to do that. You can't see that column down that side. And the reason why that's important, let me just turn that back on again. So that column that we could see down that side here is the column of, this is the data that's coming in. We only actually need to copy 39, so this should get rid of it. So there you go. So that gets rid of that glitch, but you actually need to copy less than that. If we set this at, so there we go. See how that's scrolling still perfectly across the screen? But what we've done now is we've decreased the amount. So before we were doing less than 39, 28 and 27. See, that's working. But if we knock one off there, we're now doing 2%, 2.5% less per frame. You have to nudge everything over, but basically you don't care about the 39th column. You draw your new column of data into column 38, and you scroll everything from 38 across to the left. You ignore column 39 completely. And you see you get this block of data here that's wrong. But if you turn on 38 column mode, it hides it completely. And that also, it doesn't matter if you scroll the screen around. So if I just set the bits in the scroll register to be scrolled all the way, so that's these 3 bits here. So if I scroll it to the other end, you still can't see it. So the first rule of doing horizontal scrolling is don't scroll column 39. It's a complete waste. Ignore imagine column 39 is not there at all, and you'll save 2.5%. And you can see now we're almost doing this entire scroll in the VBlank. I mean, it's only 3 or 4 lines into the main screen. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, guys. When I come back, what we're going to do is we're going to set a raster up. And we're going to use the raster to split the screen into zones, and we're going to scroll different zones at different speeds. And you'll see how keeping some areas static and only scrolling characters in some areas and only scrolling characters and colors in other areas will allow us to kind of use the raster time efficiently and create a nice effect. So I'll be right back, guys, about 2 minutes. Right back. And I'm back, pressing the wrong buttons. Thank you for the follow, Caspius Labs, Banipal, and Jeraragris. Welcome to the stream, guys. I must have missed those. I think my alerts aren't happening properly in my ear, so let's keep my eye out on that. So before we set the raster split up to scroll different zones, let's take a quick look at how expensive this scrolling is. Actually, it's running at 200. Let's run at 100. There we go. You can see as well when we get to the end, it scrolls the last row incorrectly, and I'll explain how we fix that as well shortly. So, but for now, well, in fact, let's fix that now. So you can see along the bottom here, when we get to the very end, you see that block? It's a 1 screen's width of incorrect characters on the bottom. And the reason for that is because what's happening is everything is using this index here. So what's happening here is it's actually scrolling past. So the proper way to do this would be transfer the X to the accumulator, add our 27 to it here, and then transfer it back to the X register. And that means that it will loop back to 0 again. It means it will keep in this same charmer. Adds almost no extra time to it, but it does mean that this bottom row doesn't go skewy. You can see it's fine all the way along now. No, this isn't pixel, this is character scrolling at the moment. We're going to move on to pixel scrolling in a second. We're going to set the rasters up first, and then start doing the stuff in there. But before we do that, I just want to show you how big these things are. So let's take a look at the size of these different loops, and you'll see why it's important to pick the right one. Sometimes it's worth taking the performance hit because you need a lot of memory. So when you're doing 8-way scrolling, for instance, to be able to scroll in 8-way scrolling tends to be 8 different routines depending on which way you're shifting data. So it's important that you pick the right one. So you can see shift map is taking up quite a lot. We're taking up, so this is the routine, the fastest routine that we're using now. It's taken up quite a lot of memory. I mean, it's taken up, what, about 6 kilobytes to do that. Whereas these other routines are taking up a lot less. They're taking up, you know, less than 256 bytes, you know, 128-ish, no, less than that actually. Actually a bit more, 140 bytes here, and about 64 bytes here. And the reason for that is because this has got no unrolling in it whatsoever, draw map full 2, so that's obviously going to be the smallest one. This second one does have some unrolling in it, but it's quite small. It's just unrolling a single column basically. But again, this one is glitchy because it's drawing columns at a time. And the fastest one unrolls everything, and because it unrolls everything, it is going to take up more memory, and you can see there it's taking up about 6K. So it's about, I mean, I don't even know what that is in it, 6,000 bytes roughly compared to about 150 bytes here. So it's about 40 times the size of this. This is 40 times the size of this, but it's a lot faster. So this is the one that you tend to use. The other thing is, as well, is you tend not to scroll all the lines. You tend to only scroll like 19 lines seems to be the common kind of amount that you would scroll. And if you just scroll 19 lines, you reduce that quite a bit. So you see now we're using just over 4K, and we're using a lot less raster time as well. And this is why you will see quite large HUD areas at the bottom of games. Some games will fill that in a little bit more, but 19 seems to be about the common value that people do. But we're going to go for full screen scrolling, and we're going to use a raster to split things up a little bit. So I'm going to actually duplicate this file now. I'm going to leave this as it is. I'm going to call it horizontal 1. If it'll let me do that. It's opening the debugger. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to save this as horizontal 2, and we're going to add the next steps into this now. So we're going to get rid of all of this bit here. We're going to get rid of everything except our unrolled loop. Don't really need the clear screen, so get rid of that. Draw map full. Oh, we did need the draw map full. Okay. Draw map full 2 we'll use. There we go. So we use this one to initialize the screen. And we get rid of that one. We'll use this one because it's the one that takes the least amount of memory. So. Okay, cool. So let's start by just scrolling a small portion of the screen. So let's imagine all we wanted to scroll was this bottom section. We wanted to leave the hills alone. So that bottom section starts at line, let me find out, line 10. So all we have to do is go into here and then do this. And now we have static hills in the background, and we've got a scrolling foreground. Our map shift is taking up way less now than 4K. It's around about 3.5K, so not way less. And the raster time is perfect. I mean, the raster time is almost entirely in the bottom half of the screen. There's a little bit at the top, but not a lot. So let's do this with proper raster splits now. So we'll call this split 1. Oh, and something actually somebody mentioned on YouTube, and this is something I've been meaning to use for a while and I don't. So I'm going to show you guys how to use it. This is when we want to push stuff onto the stack normally to save the registers. There's another way of doing this that's a little bit quicker, so I'll show you that as well, because I think it's a good practice to learn it. Excuse me. So let's set up our raster first. So we're going to start at split 01, and we're going to store that at FFF. And the lower by FFFE. We will we'll stick with FF as our line, and we will make sure that we clear bit 9 of the raster, which is in D011. It's the last bit in D011. And now we need to just make sure that we enable the rasters, so it's D01A, and then we need to acknowledge the rasters, so I use ASL D019. And now our raster is jumping into here. If we were to just do an RTI in here and get rid of this block here. Okay. Remember, when you're in you need to acknowledge an interrupt, or else what will happen is, if you don't acknowledge the interrupt, when you do a return from interrupt, it will just go back and run the interrupt again. So you have to acknowledge it. And there you can see, so we're activating the raster on this line, and so we can do our stuff in here. So I was saying about saving things. What you can do is you can use self mod. So I'm going to call this mod A, mod X, mod Y. Like so. And then what you can do is you can, up here, you can store the accumulator in mod A +1, store X in mod X +1, store Y in mod Y +1. So normally what I do is I push these values onto the accumulator, onto the stack, and pull them and transfer them. But that's kind of slow. This way, these only ever take 2 cycles. So returning stuff from the stack takes way less, and this only takes 12 cycles. This is a very quick way of doing things. It only really matters if your IRQs are very time sensitive, which they're not really, but top my wine up. But it's good to do this. Yeah, I mean, it's something I've known to do. It's just, I find this whole kind of writing labels and doing this, I find it annoying. I'd rather have a little macro up here, which, you know, I do that, and then I do that. The problem with the macros is you can't really then use these labels like this, so I tend to use the push accumulator method of doing things. But it's, I mean, this is a perfectly good way of doing it. If you can persevere with kind of having to write them like that, it's a good way of doing it, and it's a very common way of doing it as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 indexes now for map position. So the first byte is going to be a fractional value. So we're going to have fractional and then full value. And so what we're going to do is we're also going to have map speed, and we're going to set this to 20 for now. Now the reason I'm setting 20 is because if you take a full byte, a full 256 divided by 20, you get 8 equal pieces, and there are 8 horizontal scroll positions. So by doing this, we can easily make sure that if we increment the map at this speed, we're getting 1 pixel movement every time. So we'll start by increment map position. So we do load the map position, add map speed, store map position. We'll add plus zeros on here so we know it's more than 1 byte that's we're interested in here. And add 0 here just to. So at this point we could just say, okay, let's take our our full value, which is already in the accumulator, transfer it to X, and call shift map, and this will give us exactly the same thing we had before, but now it's doing it in a raster. So in fact, let's still put the it's good to see how long these things take, so let's put it in our splits in here. Oh, something's going wrong there for some reason. How's that going wrong? That's weird. Let's do all the rows again. I'm just a bit worried why that's looking strange for some reason. I don't know, something weird is going on here. Ah, no, the problem here now is that we need to do something here. So if the carry is clear, no shift, and we jump to here. Because if this fractional value hasn't changed, then we don't actually need to shift the map. However, if it has changed, then we do need to shift the map. What's that problem fixed? There we go. So it's quite slow. The reason it's slow is because now we're only updating every 8th frame, and that's because our speed is set to this. If we set our speed to FF, I mean it should be 100 really, but actually that's no, FF is fine. That's more than enough speed. This will update almost every frame. Once every now and again it will skip a frame, but you see the little flash of black as it comes out. It's because we're not updating by 100, but we're updating by FF. So 1 less than full. But you can see it does scroll at full speed. So now what we need to do is we need to turn this fractional value into a horizontal shift value. So horizontal shift is in D016, and it's the bottom 3 bits. So if we just load up here, so D016 is 53270. So if you poke 53270 with the default value, which is C8, which is 200, it looks like that. If we increase the shift by 1, you see it moves to the right a little bit. So actually what we want is the inverse of what we've got. So we want to actually start at 207 and move 1 pixel at a time this way. So that value needs to go down. So what we need to do is we need to take this fractional value, which we do need to do. Yeah, we need to do it here because even if there's no shift, we still need to set the fractional value. So we take our fractional value. So at the moment, what we've got is this will be 00, 20, 40, and so on. And what we want it to be is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So if we imagine the highest number here, which is going to be E0, how do we turn this into 7? So E0 is basically, in binary, looks like this. It's the top 3 bits, and not the bottom 3. And so basically we need to turn this into this. And the easiest way to do that is to do some shifting. So the sneakiest way to do this is start with a roll to the left, and then hang on, can you 2, 3, 4? I think that'll do it. Let's just check that. I need to check that. So the site I like to use for checking things is called Easy6502. It's a great site if you want to learn assembly language, 6502 assembly, and it's what I use for testing things like this. So if we've got E0 and we roll it to the left 4 times, we should get 0, 7. Yeah, we do. Now, why am I doing that instead of going the other way? So you could say, okay, if you look at this, I just need to shift it that way 5 times, but obviously that's 1 extra instruction. So if I shift it the other way, I do get the same result, but I use 1 extra instruction. So I could do this 5 times, but I'm using 1 extra instruction. So the key is if you're shifting something 5 or more times in one direction, you're better off rolling it 4 or less times in the other direction. Actually, that's a good point. So I would be better off doing that. There we go. Thank you, old school coder. So start by just doing a shift to the left, which means this bit doesn't get filled in at all. It's always going to be 0, and then roll 3 times. So do do 1 shift and then do rolls. So this will give us, if we've got E0, it will give us 7, but actually we need that to be 0. So then what we can do is we can just EOR that value as 7. So that means if you've got 7, it will be 0. If you've got 1, it will be 6. If you've got 5, it will be 2, and so on and so on. Okay, so we've got a value now. And now what we need to do is we need to set those bits in D016. So what I like to do, if we take D016, actually we can just do this here. We'll store this in a 0-page address. I'm going to create a 0-page label up here, why not? I'll put it at 2, it's fine. Because we're banking everything out, so it's fine to use this address. Oh, actually, we can just, we know what our screen width needs to be, we know what multicolor needs to be, we can just do it straight. We don't even need the temporary address here. So we've got our value, so we're just going to add the extra bits in that we need, which are, so the first 3 bits do nothing. We do want multicolor mode on, we don't want screen width, and then 3 bits. That's all we're doing. We just turn multicolor mode on. So in D016. Okay, cool. So now we should have smooth scrolling, hopefully, which we do. I'm seeing a little glitch over here, though. Why are we seeing a glitch over there? Think about this. What's going on there? Am I scrolling 1 less column than I need to? Or am I doing this too late, maybe? Hang on, let me think about this. I'm not sure what's going on here. Or do I need to do this? Actually, I think I need to do this first before I change anything. No, it's a completely wrong place. So that's the right place to do it. So why is it not working? Yeah, shifts will always put the bit that you're shifting off into the carry. The difference is with an arithmetic or a logical shift, it won't put stuff back on to the other side from the carry. So it always puts stuff into the carry, but it doesn't take anything from the carry. Whereas a roll will always do both. It will take stuff and put it into the carry, and take stuff out of the carry and put it back on the other side as well. Thank you for the follow, TraceX. Welcome to the stream. Okay, let's have a quick look at what's going on in the debugger then. So there does seem to be a bit of glitching going down this side. I'm just trying to work out why that is. Is something not right? Let's run it in Vice and just slow it right down. Let's see what's happening. I feel like it's drawing that column too late. Are we actually in? Are we in 38 column mode? Ah, we're not in 38 column mode. That's why. Oh no, we are. But that last column is wrong. Let's put it in the debugger and go and have a look at D016. I feel like there's something not wrong there. Yeah, something's updating incorrectly. So there's D016. Multicolor text. D016 is set to. Oh, I can't see that. It's too slow. Too quick, I mean. Are you not losing a bit if bit 7 is set when you shift? No, because it still goes into the carry. So this one will put it into the carry bit. Then these will take it from the carry and move it across. So we're doing four shifts basically, but we only care about these 3. The first shift is just to set the carry bit. So this is just putting this into the carry bit. Then the next ones will roll. So we'll get 1 in there. This one will go into the carry bit. Then we'll get 1 in here. And this one will go into the carry bit. Then we'll get 1 in here. And we end up with that basically. Oh, SID request. Ah, okay, cool. What is this SID? If it's in, let me see if I can find it in. Okay, let me pause. Okay, so this is who's requested this? Joystick requested this. So. Yeah, I'm struggling to notice things. I'm in the zone a little bit. You hear nothing? No one else hear that? It should be in the desktop audio. It should be coming through. Yeah, it is Benny Hill, Yakety Sax. And hey, Thomas Digital, welcome to the stream, dude. I'm just trying to work out why we're getting that glitch over on that side. Only when we do the shifts. Thanks, dude. Okay, let's go back to the Sid music. Let me accept that request. Thanks, Jost. Good to see somebody using the request channel. Okay, let's take a quick look at what's going on here. So it seems fine. Then we get a copy, and then it kind of draws that column in way too late. It seems like it should be happening a little bit sooner than that. Let's think. So 7 down to 0. Oh, hang on. I think what I need to do . 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. No, this should be fine. So if I turn that shift off, it's fine, right? So if I just turn this off, it seems to be related to that. Speed up again. So we're fine at this point, so it's definitely to do with that shift. Also, I've lost the now playing window on here, I don't know why. See if I can find it again. No, completely lost it. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, well I can't tell you what's playing anymore. I need to fix that. If anybody wants to know, I can tell you what it is. This is Mystery of the Nile by Peter Clark. Yeah, so if we turn the ER off, what will happen is the scroll will go the wrong way, basically. So it goes that way and then jumps, but actually, but we still get that glitch down one side as well. Just trying to work out why that's happening. That should be fine. So let's think of the values as they go in. So if 0 goes in, this is saying that our scroll is, oh, maybe this shift needs to happen before the 0, because the 0 is the first. Do you know what? There's another way to do this as well, because this isn't the normal way I would do these things. I really want to get this working there before I move on to the next bit. What the hell? Is this Oh Mummy? No, Mystery of the Nile. Oh. Well, why makes the scroll smooth? It does. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got the map position should go from 7 down to 0. Then when it hits 0, and it moves to the next position, then the column should copy. It's happening too early, that's the problem. Because what's happening is we're going, map position is being added. So we go from to E0. E0 becomes 0. Oh no, this is correct. Okay, first of all, that should be an increment. That's just common sense. Oh, no, that's fine. It's cycle-wise. All right, let's do this a different way. So instead of scrolling like this, what we're going to do is we're going to start our fine scroll at 7, and we're just going to decrease this. And we'll have a speed of 1. The carry is still set and we're not doing a shift. And then we don't have to actually do this, we can just directly like that. I liked having the fractional stuff in there. It's still wrong though, it's not doing the shift. Oh, because we're now not adding, so we'll increment this, then we'll load X with this. Right, okay, there we go. Yeah, there we go. I was trying to be clever with the fractional stuff, so probably shouldn't do that. Or if we were to do the fractional stuff, we should do it counting backwards, and so then we don't need the or. But this is quicker anyway, so. Okay, map speed is set to 20. Should probably set that to 01, so it actually scrolls at a reasonable speed. Oh, now what's it doing? Oh, because at this point we then need to set 7. We need to make sure it resets whenever we go round. Oh no, we're still getting that glitch on that side. Let's do that. Still doing that delayed glitch over here, and that's bothering me a little bit. I'm just wondering if I'm copying the wrong column or something. Because only that last column, it's like it's drawing that last column incorrectly. Let's try that. I can't see it doing that, but no. No, so that's just wrong. Okay. It's confusing me why this isn't working. It should work. So we go 7 down to 0, and then if we go past 0, this piece of code gets triggered, which resets it back to 7. So here really what we should do is we don't need to clear the carrier because it's already cleared, add 8 and then store it. But for some reason this last column is kind of flickering in and it makes no sense. Why is that happening? Maybe I need more wine. Let's get some more wine in. Or maybe the wine is the problem. Maybe this is what's causing the problem. What am I doing wrong here? Scroll, 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 get to 0, scroll over by 1, and shift the map. And this should shift the map. Yeah, the map, are you loading on 0 after 0, which is 7. It should be after 0. This is what this bit is doing here. You're testing before decreasing. No, I'm doing the decrease here and storing it here. This is always going to get hit, this piece. Let's put a breakpoint in here and see what's actually going on. Let's do it here. Okay, apparently that broke straight away. Well, that's not right because it's breaking all the time now. Oh, let's put a knob in there because it's breaking every time. This is the problem with breaks, is they break on the next instruction. Okay, so at this point, what do we have? We have map position, which is at 0866, and our map position is at 0701. So we've increased the map by 1, and our scroll position is at 7. It's drawing really late for some reason. It's copying that last line. It's like it's not drawing the column in for some reason. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It seems like it's not drawing that new column. Which is this bit here, right? And this should be scrolling based on the X position here, which is our map position 1, which is correct. This is the new position. I mean, what happens if I just move that to afterwards? I can't imagine that's going to work. Let's give it a try. No, you see, it's still, you see from here, it's still drawing these two in the wrong place. Anytime there's a frame drawn at the column drawn at the edge, it's not drawing the right column down here. So I want to see if it's actually drawing that column at all. It feels like it's not drawing that column properly. So I'm just going to put a different value in there just to see what happens. Okay, so it should be drawing a column down this side now. And it is drawing them, but it's drawing 2 columns. It's drawing 1 and then it's shifting that one over. Hi Cole, welcome to the stream. It's weird how it is only during the shift operation that things are going wrong. So this is the basics. I really shouldn't be getting stuck on this. So what are we actually seeing? We're seeing Should we draw the new column after scrolling the others? I think we might need to actually, but I'm frustrated because that should work on that side. Maybe that's it, Booney, actually. I think you might be right. Yeah, that's it. Problem is here now we're going to get a glitch up here, so I'm going to move this scroll back a little bit. So yeah, it's annoying though. That should have been. That was working before when it wasn't doing the pixel-based scrolling. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I think what I'd like to do though instead of doing it at the end like that is to move this here and then do this outside of this loop, so there like that. Then this way we're still obeying the kind of row by row, so we're not doing loads of rows and then a column. Yeah, that's better. Okay, yeah, it's just my dumbness really there. Okay, cool. That was a bit of wasted time, wasn't it? So, all right. So now let's edit this so that it only scrolls that bottom section that we were interested in, and have a look. Oops. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the problem we've got here now is we're now scrolling this bottom half using this shift map, but now the top half is actually, it has a different scroll setting. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this routine a little bit. So this routine currently scroll bottom section. And we're going to put these positions in here this time. And then we're going to copy this entire IRQ. And we're going to call it split 2. And this time we're going to add a new raster line in and a new split. So we'll do this here. So now we need to set a raster that's around about this position here. Actually, no, we need to change this a little bit. Hang on. So we'll do all the scrolling down here, but we need to set some values at different places. Okay, so the first value we need to set, we'll scroll this position up here, and then hang on, let me think about this. All right. The way we're going to do this is we're going to do all the scrolling in this loop here. So we're going to have a flag. We're going to call it frame flag. We're going to set that to 0. And then in here what we'll do is frame flag. And if it's equal to 0, we'll jump back to loop. Otherwise, what we will do is reset the frame flag. And do shifts here. So get rid of all of this crap here now. And then in our frame flag, we start the frame flag basically in this one here. So we'll just increment it here. So this is our shift code. So we're going to take, let's just take it all out of here for now. And let's just put our let's change this to bottom. And then we're going to do these horizontal scrolls as part of a split. So the bottom split is basically going to set up our top half. So we're doing the bottom split down there because we need to actually start doing the shifting down there. But we're going to actually set 3 zones for the split. So the first zone is going to be from the bottom of the screen to here, to the top here. So that will be static. So we're just going to set the value of 1, 2, 3, 1, 0, 0, 0. I'm going to store that at D016. So this is a static section. And then we're going to set the next split. So the next split is 3 lines down from the top there. Let me just check my. Okay. So we're going to move everything 3 lines down. So this next split is going to be split 2. And the top of the screen is at 3, 2. So 3 lines down from that will be 4A, and that's where we're going to do our next one. And that's this one here. I'll get rid of all of this. So this is landscape. And for now, we'll just keep this static as well. We'll sort the shift out for this in a second. And then we set up our next split, which is split 3. In a proper engine, what you would do is you would have these splits in a table somewhere. So you would just have an IRQ manager that would handle these. So this is line 10. So line 10 would be 58282, I think. Like so. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that at the bottom here. And then split 3 is the bottom section, and this is going to point back to split 1 again, which starts at FF. And this is the one where we're actually going to put this code in. So we are going to take this is the foreground. I like this tune. I don't know what this is, but I like it. I feel really dumb for doing that, Booney. I'm glad you spotted that. Thank you very much. I'm glad somebody's awake. This is map position bottom now, isn't it? There we go. So with a bit of luck, this should scroll just the bottom section and keep the top fine. Okay, we do need to change some values. We need to turn on multicolor mode for the top, and it's not at the moment. We need to stabilize this raster in the middle here, but we do have the bottom moving now. So I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we will stabilize the raster. We'll turn multicolor mode on for the top, and we'll start looking at how we can scroll color as well. So I'll be right back in about 2 minutes, guys. Be right back. And I'm back. I'm going to hit the right button this time. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Let's make sure we turn multicolor on for these 2 areas. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? In the split down here, so this is the bottom split, I'm going to actually turn the borders off here. And I'll tell you why. It will allow us to kind of expand the sky up at the top a little bit. You could add sprites in there, but I'll show you how quickly to open the borders. We've done this 100 times, but I'll show you how to do this anyway. So the first split is here, and it's pointed to by this one here. So we're going to set it to FA instead, which is just going to lift it up a little bit. Music stopped for some reason. Try and grab the music. Oh no, music's on. It's quiet though. Let's pick some more modern music. I think let's go for some the best demo music. Oh, Jammer. Jammer's good. And then in this split here, what we're going to do is we're going to set the multicolor mode correctly. So multicolor mode is bit 4, which is this one here. And we should be in 38 color mode, which is that. There we go. Which is why these are wrong all the way down here. But also we're gonna remove the borders before we jump to the next section. So to remove the borders, basically you need to switch to 24 road mode. I'm not going to change anything else in here, so I'm just going to do it with and. So I need to turn off bit 3 like that. And then we're just going to wait for the raster to get past that section. Put my chat back on again here. And then we're going to do the opposite of this, which is to take this and turn that bit on again. Just give that a quick run just to make sure that's opened the borders up. It's actually not done anything. Why is that not done anything? It's not that. Go to here. Just turn that off a sec. Just make sure that hasn't broken things. Something did break there. Is it that break, pause in the middle? Yes, that pause in the middle. Why is that stopping? That should pause it. I don't know why that's not. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm having a nightmare today. For some reason at this point, raster position F9. No, this is at FA. It should be enough though. But I'm doing a little check here to see if we've approached the. Do it there maybe. Take one of those check. FA. Yeah, it should be fine. Oh, there we go. It's weird. But that hasn't actually hasn't actually opened our borders. Let's just make sure by setting the background color. I don't think it has because we can see the border along the bottom. But set our background color here. Let's say it's a red, so it's really obvious. So we've got red sky. We should be seeing red everywhere, and we're not seeing it. Am I setting the right value in here? Actually, I mean, this should be working. This is bizarre. For some reason, when I go over that value, line 120. Oh, I'm turning. Oh no, that's right. Turning 25 row back on. Oh, God's sake. Thank you. Well spotted. There we go. Thank you, old school coder. Yeah. So now we've got the border open. So the reason we're seeing these black lines here now is because we actually need a junk byte in here. And unfortunately, I've set our Vic bank to this high area, so I'm going to move the Vic bank down actually. So I'm going to put our Vic bank at 4,000 and 4,800. And I'm just going to move the Vic bank down in this one here. So it would be 0 like so. There we go. Now, just to make sure, what you can do is you can fill that last byte, because this is a garbage byte, right? So whatever is in this location is what you will see in that border. So if I put 0A in there, you'll see I'll get a line in there. You see? So what you need to have in that garbage location is 0, 0. There you go. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because what I want to do is in this bottom section, so in this split here, I want to like so, and then I actually want to set another split here, back at 0, 0 again. Hang on, wrong place. This one, sorry. I maybe shouldn't drink wine before I do something kind of on the fly like this. So I'm going to set black in the background here. I am going to wait till I get past that position. Should still work, hopefully. It doesn't work if I do that. It's really weird. If I do FF, it does work. Strange. So what I could do here instead is I could oh, it still fails. That's freaking bizarre. Okay, I honestly don't understand why that's doing that. I'm just going to just want to see where that's actually happening. Okay, fine. So instead of going to split 2, we'll go to split 1A. And this will be 0, 0 and D02. We just need to make sure I don't get why it was doing that at all. Okay, and this will be split 1A. Split 1A's job is to jump to the top of the screen, but at this point to set the background colour to blue, which is the background colour that we want. God, I'm making a mess of this. There we go, right. It's happening a little bit too soon down here now, the scroll, so what we can do is we just put a little bit of a delay in the bottom section, which is this one here. No, where's the bottom section? FA split 01. This is 1A. This is 01. I'm going to do that frame flag here instead. We're still getting a little bit of jank down here. The frame flag's probably alright. I'll remove the borders and then do the static section afterwards. There we go. I should get rid of that. Cool. Perfect. So now we've got a blue sky up here. So if you wanted to, you could add some sprites up here and stuff. So you'll have seen that in many games. Creatures 2 is a good example. They put a sun and some birds, I think, up there or something. Okay, let's see where we're at. Right. So let's get rid of. Okay, we still look like we need multicolor properly in some places. So in this top section here, it looks like it doesn't have multicolor set properly. Choose D016. Multicolor mode is on 40 color mode. Yeah, that should be fine actually. I think it's just the color choice that we've got up there. Yeah, it is the color choice, because if I set the background to a different color, so if I set it to red, for instance, here, you should still see. Yeah, you can see the stars and stuff up here, which is cool. Let's leave it red for now until we put the colors in. Okay, let's set this jitter here. Let's get rid of this. So to get rid of this jitter, we need to find the raster for this one, which is this one, split 3. Now the easiest way to do this is jump to a line before, and then in here this better work because it's been kind of funny before. And then nop it out a little bit. So we just add a few nops before we do anything, just to shift that jitter across the screen. There we go, we've got rid of it now. It's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the border increments here now because we don't really need them at this point. Because we're gonna turn them on somewhere else in a minute. Oh, now we need to move the jitter because we've removed those. We just need to add a couple more of these and it should be enough. There we go. So next step, we're going to add colour to the whole screen as well, and you'll see what happens when we add colour. So if we go into our draw map full 2, which we've got here, at this point we can let's store y in zp temp and do this as a decrease zp temp. And then we can use y here. So if we transfer accumulator to y, then load accumulator with what was it? Char color map, comma y. And we need a color modification here as well. So pretty easy to do. Thank you for the follow, Balint Magyar. Welcome to the stream, dude. Hope you're doing well. Hope your lockdown is going well wherever you may be. So this is the initial drawing of the screen. So I'm just going to use the direct values for color mod. So we just need to make sure that we update color mod as we go along as well. Have I done a lowercase? There is. Oh, why has that not done the whole? Oh, because I need to do comma X. There we go. So what we've got now, we've got colour applied to the screen at the beginning, but then it's not being scrolled with the screen as it goes along. So we're seeing the colours kind of shift with the screen, which is incorrect. Sorry, not shift with the screen. So that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we shift those colors as we move along through the screen. So easy way to do that, if we go into our shift routine here. So we'll do the column bit first. So we need to basically do the same thing we've done here. So transfer it to the Y register, load color map, Y, and then do the same store but with color ramp instead. Color ramp is at D800. And then we can do the same in here, but instead of looking it up in the color map, because we're shifting, all we need to do is exactly what we're doing here, but with color ramp instead. Now this is obviously going to take twice as long to do, but we should get full color scrolling along the bottom. And there we go, we've got full color scroll moving along the bottom. So let's put some timers around that, some bars, so we can see how long that's taking. So this is our loop here. Actually, let's do it as the whole thing like that. So this is scrolling the bottom now. And you can see it's still finishing before we get to this point, which is good. And actually, once it gets here, it's actually drawing the bottom row. So the next step is to do this middle layer here. So we're gonna scroll this background section here. So to do that, we're basically just going to copy our scroll function. So this shift map. And we're going to call it shift map. This tune sounds too fast. I'm going to skip this one. Actually, I'm gonna look for tunes by Jammer, so because Jammer's pretty good, to be honest. So that one failed. Oh, and to speed this up, it's as simple as just changing our scroll speed here. Oh my god. Seriously? Oh, why's it failing now? Oh, because our shift map overlaps, that's why. Shift map landscape. This should actually only be scrolling 3 lines, that's why. This is what I mean about it taking. Look how much memory it's taken up to do the shift. It's taken a lot of memory up. So obviously you need to be careful with this, and now our Vic bank is at 4,000, so actually you probably want to move this the other way. In fact, you could do this by moving everything up to there instead, or even lower than that. There you go. Now we're getting jams there. Why are we getting jams there? Oh, because it's running into this area. So let's 8,000 to 9,000. No, let's keep it where it was. Let's keep it where it was, and let's just trim down this function. So this function needs to scroll less lines. It needs to scroll from line 4 to line 9 instead of from line 10 to 24. So this is scrolling line, actually it's line 3 to line 9. So this will be, this one here will be 3, and this will be 10 because it needs to go to 9. Yeah, that fits into memory now, cool. And that means now we can change the speed. So if we change the speed of this bit here, we've got the bottom part moving pretty quickly now. And so to scroll the top part, all we need to do is copy that block of code again. Where's our values? Here we go. We'll call this landscape, and this will start at the same place, and it will be the second value in the map speed. So we'll have two map speeds. Essentially, you would want this value here to always be half of this or whatever, but we'll just do it hard coded for now. It's fine. So we're going to scroll the top section first. The reason we're scrolling the top section first is because the raster goes from top to bottom, so you want to do everything at the top of the screen before you do the stuff at the bottom of the screen. So we'll keep the decrease here, like that. We'll put 2 in this time. We change this for landscape. Speed is +1 because we want the second section, and this would be landscape. And fingers crossed, this should scroll the top section. Okay, so it is shifting the top section, but the reason why we're not seeing the soft scroll is because we're not applying it in our scroll. So in this section here, we set our map position. We need to do the same thing with this one here. And this would be, so there we go. Cool. So that's basically how to do full screen scrolling. We're kind of cheating because it's not full color scrolling, because it's only scrolling the bottom half in full color. In fact, we don't need to scroll color in this top section here. So in this shift screen landscape, we can get rid of the color map checks here as well, which will shorten the code a bit more and actually speed it up slightly. If you really wanted to, you could scroll this top section here as well, but really you wouldn't want to scroll this sort of thing because it needs to be, it's stars and the moon. It doesn't move, right? They always stay. It's considered infinity when it comes to parallax. So okay, let's set the border to the background to blue because I think that looks better. And then we're going to do one more thing, which is we're going to scroll these sections down here at a different speed. I am seeing a little jitter down here, so I think we might need to fix that. Yeah, let's fix that jitter at the bottom. So that is in this section here, we're seeing a jitter. Why are we seeing a jitter? So we're setting a background color of black. That's probably too soon. Let's try setting it here. Maybe that's what's causing the jitter. No, it's too late now. Okay, so that was the right place. We're removing the borders. We're waiting. I'm going to increment the frame flag here. There we go, we got rid of the jitter. Oh no, it is still a tiny little bit of jitter here. I'm not sure why it's doing that. This could be based on this version of the emulator as well, so let's just check in the debugger, see what happens. Yeah, oh no, it's still a bit of jitter here. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that too much. What I'm going to do now is do this character scrolling here. So one of the things that makes these sort of things really nice is if you have additional parallax within the level. Obviously scrolling things in layers like this is kind of nice, but sometimes you want a bit of scrolling that's kind of within the level itself. So this is why I've added this high-res character in here. And what we'll do is we'll scroll that as well. We'll do that. Where should we do that? Let's do that between. Let's do that here. So we're going to have a little routine which scrolls the chars. And we'll use the same kind of system as we have down here. Except it's not going to do. Actually, no. Let's just do it. Let's do it without that. Let's just jump straight to a function that does it. So what's happening is as we're scrolling the screen, all the characters are moving across. So if we scroll the data in those characters in the other direction, we should get a nice effect of kind of depth in there as well. So the data that we want to scroll is for character number 64. So character number 64 lives at, what's our char set at again? I forgot. It's at 4800. So this is at 4800. This is where our character is, and we want to scroll everything to the right. So, oops. Oh. We'll do this backwards. No need to do it forwards. Always try and do your loops backwards if you can, because you avoid having to have a comparison here. You can just do a decrease in a branch if plus or a branch if not equal. I don't know, does it without having to stop to Google. Actually, I do have my memory map on this screen, so I do have this open all the time. It's kind of necessary, really. But other than that, that's all you really need once you get used to it. Kind of learn enough from that. Okay, so we need to take the data that's in this position. We want to shift this. We want to shift this to the. Let's see. If we're moving that way, we want to shift it to the right. So if we shift everything to the right, this will put the bit 0 into the carry flag. So if the carry is good, let's call this loop. If the carry is clear, we don't need to do anything. Otherwise, we need to turn on the first bit again. That should be enough. Cool. But I'm not fully happy with that. I think we need a little bit more. It looks too square. Everything's too perfect against that background. So what I'm also going to do is before we skip into the next section, is we're going to actually move everything down as well. So we're going to go through backwards through this. We're going to load Y with the last position. Cool. Right, now let's get rid of those border flashes. They're kind of unnecessary now. Maybe slow these down a little bit as well, I guess. So let's how can we do this? Let's just put a, let's call it scroll timer. This is a trick I use all the time. There's better ways of doing timers, but if you don't mind having a timer that's based on powers of 2, this is absolutely fine to do. And then here we can just do, let's call this end. Oops, scroll timer. There we go. That should slow it down a little bit. And there we go. So really, really simple. Oh, I like that thing, that matrix emote. It's cool. I mean, obviously this is done with a character set that's based on Monsters Go Boom's original character set for the Saturday game, with some modifications to make it multicolor mode, do some stars and a moon, and kind of enhance the graphics a little bit. So one of the things you'll notice is the bottom piece of the ground has got like kind of red hue on it, and that's just that's because it's got this red beams kind of going through it. Oops. Red seemed to be the best color. I mean, purple kind of works. Actually, blue works as well, but purple kind of works. But red seemed to fit the best, and it was just a way of coloring this bottom half in, because in the original non-multicolor version, he was using an orange color, but obviously you can't do that in multicolor mode. You can't have orange as your character color, so I used a kind of blend between red and brown to create that. So oops. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty simple, and the border's open here as well, so you could in theory put more sprites up here. So if you wanted to kind of add some bats or something that flew around over here, you could have them go all the way up to the top of the screen. You can also use sprites down here as well, so you can have a hood down here, so you've got full 25 lines of kind of map going on, but you've got room to put a hood down the bottom or a hood up the top or whatever you want to do, because the borders are open. So call it Lima and slap some Peruvian style sprites and ship it. Yeah. But you can see how it's quite easy with a bit of planning about your map. You can make an interesting looking map, and you don't have to scroll the whole screen in full color. So you can scroll, you know, we're only scrolling 15 lines of the screen, or maybe 14 lines of the screen in full color, and only an additional 9 lines are being scrolled at all. You can see where the end of the map is here as well. Doesn't quite wrap around properly, and by keeping this bit static, you know, you can still create quite an interesting level, and it's just about using your head when it comes to things. I mean, obviously we've talked about VSP scrolling before. If you were really serious about doing full color scrollers, you would go for except all the U borders are closed. Or use raster bars to change multicolors for. Oh, yeah, let's try that. Let's do that. Let's make this bottom section here while we're at it. So this is also a trick that's used in creatures, where they change the multicolors halfway down. So let's set another raster line around here somewhere, and we'll change the colors in the background here. So if let's have a look. So we've got a split 1A. Then this split is the second half. So this is the one we're interested in here. So instead of jumping to the bottom here, we need a 3A. And 3A's job is definitely to return to the top again. But what we're going to do in this one is we're going to change some colors in here as well. So we did have some colors already set up, so let's make sure that they get reset when we go back to the top of the screen, which is these two here. So wherever we set our border color, our background color back to blue, which I believe is it's probably in the last one actually, isn't it? No, FA, so split 0, 1. Split 0, 1, yeah, there we go. So we set up our colours back to normal here. And then in this one down here in 3A, so we need to work out where 3A is going to be. So I would say let's do it about here, maybe. Which is going to just about cut in nicely, I think. So that's line 22. So that is B0. E2, I think. So if we do E1 in here for 3A, copy this blocking because we need to do the same thing again. Make sure we get rid of any glitch, then take our colors and do some changes. So black we want to keep, that's not going to change, but this one we could change to orange. And that might create a different color down the bottom, and you can see it. So we have still got a glitch there. You can just about see it as we move across. In fact, let's change it to like a purple color. Let's make it really different. And let's stick a couple more knops in to get rid of that glitch. Oops. What? Has that seriously just happened? Oh, there we go. My God. I thought I'd lost everything then. That would have been a very terrible moment. Yeah, so we've got rid of the glitch now. Purple's not quite right here. Let's go and have a look what colours we could use in that section. So it's this colour that we're changing here. We can change it to anything we want, right? So we're using a red as a character colour, so it kind of needs to blend with the red. The red blends too much with the red. Oh, that grey colour kind of works. Okay, so if we set 0B in there. Yeah, for some reason I'd opened a new file, so it didn't undo. It closed that file and opened a new file. Yeah, my my heart actually dropped for a second. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. That kind of looks all right. I mean, the red looks weird in the bottom now. But yeah, I mean, that's one way of kind of changing colors as you go down the screen. And as I say, it's something that's used quite a lot in creatures. In fact, I'm going to move it back 2 lines. I don't think it's quite right at that line. Let's put it at D1. I think that's probably better. There we go. That looks a bit better, I think. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that kind of works quite well. Have you got a public repo for it? Old school. Let's see if you have. That's probably why. You have. Yeah, if you've got a public GitHub, then they just scour GitHub for ASM code. It's caught everybody out. I mean, the preview game, the game that we do on Saturdays, is in a public GitHub, and I don't mind that it's in a public GitHub, but that's how that ended up on there. Monster Go Boom's dungeon crawler. He'd accidentally put it in a public GitHub, and that ended up, which put him off entering the competition, which is a real shame, and absolutely scummy from the crackers to do that. Hayes had it as well with his is that actually music? That sounds wrong. Skip it on one. Hayes had it with his Mario game as well. He had it in a public GitHub, so just be careful. Okay, cool. I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, it's Easter, isn't it? Let's do something else. Let's have a think, guys, what we can add to this, because let's add a little bit more to it. And let's do another hour on it also. I'm enjoying the wine. I'm enjoying the company. It's nice. Right, all right. I'm going to take a break. Have a think about what we can add, and I'll try and add what we can in another hour. All right, be right back, guys. And I'm back. So this as well. It's my little. Oop, okay, it's on camera. Just about see that. It's my Game Boy Advance, which I'm going to start doing some dev for this on Tuesdays, I think, probably. I'm going to be learning starting from the beginning, so I don't know Z80, I don't know the Game Boy, so it's going to be an interesting challenge, but should be fun. I think I'm going to start by just trying to port .cosmos to it, and then do some, I don't know, I might port Luma as well. I think Luma would work really well on that. Okay, let's have a look. I don't know what to add to this now. Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll add some lightning in. There won't be any rain, but we can add some lightning in. Add rain. Oh my god! As soon as I said that, add rain. Yeah. I don't think rain would work on this, unfortunately. Not. It would end up being like the Shadow over Hawksmill rain, and I'm not that keen on that rain, to be honest. Some faster sprites at bottom for another layer of parallax. Oh yeah, we could add sprites zooming along here as well. I mean, you could. Oh, I'll tell you what we can try. Let's have a go at this. Let's say we had a sprite that looked like this. I mean, it completely doesn't fit at all. It really doesn't fit at all with the style, but let's just demonstrate how you would do this. So we're going to create a sprite. Do it for I add boobs. I need to see how far this is going to go if I do this. It's probably not going to be far enough, is it? Let's do it with 3 first and see what happens. Oops. 3 come out this side. Is that in a straight line? I think it's in a straight line. Yeah, that's perfect. And then 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So this is going to be a whole new series. So on the next one that we do, we'll do vertical scrolling. So we'll start by just doing a scroll down and demonstrating how you can do a vertical scroller. And it's probably not enough to fill an entire episode, so we'll also do scrolling the other direction as well. Let's class sprite stop bin. That's probably too big actually, so we only need one sprite really. So the thing is when you scroll, when the screen scrolls down, like you're falling down something, so the screen is shifting up, that's actually quite easy to do because everything can be done from top to bottom. So you do the same thing, you shift rows. So you take the second row, you shift it up to the first row, you take the third row, you shift it up to the second row, and so on. But going the other way, it's a bit different, because that way you have to start at the bottom and work your way up. So you have to do it in 2 halves really. Make this scroll left and right depending on joystick. All right, let's do both of those things as well. So I'm just going to add this sprite layer in, and then I will demonstrate how to do that as well. So let's import them sprites in. So we've got a new sprite. It needs to go somewhere in here. So I'm going to put it in 400 because our screen is at 400. It's called sprites, but it's actually just one sprite. So now you probably wouldn't do this the way I'm going to do this. You would probably use more splits, but because we've not got anything going on, I'm just going to use all the sprites to do this. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to take that sprite that I've just drawn, this thing, and I'm just going to tile it all the way down the screen, and then move it faster than everything else, on top of everything else, and faster. So that gives me 168 lines before I have to reuse the sprite. So there's only going to be one split, which is just going to redraw the next set of sprites. In a real game, you would probably only want to use one sprite for this and just have it kind of reposition all the way down, so you'd have way more splits that we're doing this. But because we don't have sprites, I'm just gonna do it all in here. Why not? Okay, so first of all let's just set the sprites up. So we'll do that in here. So we're gonna we need sprites. This is going to be 1, 0, and that's going to be a screen RAM. That's that. That's going to set all the sprites. This is really inefficient code. I mean, you would do this in a loop definitely, but I'm just trying to do this quickly. So turn all the sprites on, and we want multicolor mode off, and we're going to set sprite positions here, and this is just going to be X basically. So we're going to have 2 values. So we're going to have LSB and MSB. let's just set these somewhere in the middle first, just so we can see them. And so the first time we need to use this will be, we'll do it in the bottom border, I think. So not this one, but this one. This is where we'll set things up. So before this exits, do sprites. So what we need to do is we need to so this is going to be the Y first, so we're going to store the Y position here. Then we're going to add 21 to the sprites, increase the Y by 2, yep. And then we'll do the X's as well. So the X is just going to be the same thing. Again, you could probably do this way more efficiently, but this time we don't need to add anything to it. And this will be sprite position, sprite positions plus 0. And then finally we need to check load sprite positions plus 1. And we'll actually stop, because keep X at 0 here. If it's still 0, we jump to here, otherwise set FF, and then we store X at D010. Alright, so with a bit of luck we should see a shitload of sprites across the middle of the screen. There we go. For some reason that's not correct. I don't know why. Let's try setting that as starting at 1. Should be fine though. I don't know why that one's wrong. There's a gap there for some reason. Let's just put that in the debugger. So if we look at our sprites, the positions, oh, I know why. Because we need to clear the carry bit here, that's why. And there we go. So we can set that back to 0 again. So now we do need one other split. So this split is going to be at 15 times 8, which is going to be 80, 94. So we need to find where that split would go. So it's not here, it's before that one. It is this one. Okay, so we need to take, we'll call this split 3AA. And we'll set this just a bit before, so we're going to set it around about 92 because I think that's about right. We don't need this here, we don't need this here, we do need split 3, and then what we need to do is just set the Y positions. We don't need to set the X positions. And this time we're starting at 94, and we only care about enough to lead us to the edge of the screen. So actually this is going to be a bit less. I think 0C is probably enough here. Oh, that's wrong. 3AA. So D0. Oh no. Oh, what am I doing wrong here? Because I'm doing the X, that's why it should be this. Okay, we're not seeing that sprite. 388, 92 should come to here. Let's just put an increment on the border here just to make sure it's actually getting to that point. It is getting to there. It's actually happening too early, really. Have I calculated that wrong? Maybe I have. So 8 times 21 is 168, which is A8. So actually this should be like A6 or something like that. and this should be 8, 8. I don't know why we're not seeing. Hang on, let's put it in the debugger. I think I'm just getting the wrong values here. A8 seems to be the right position. Oh, because we need to add 15 here, we need to clear the carry bit here. There we go. Oh, we do need a few more. Okay, let's go all the way to the bottom then as well. Still not quite right. So when we get to this point here, sprites should flip to there, which they do, but then we're not seeing them all the way down the screen. They're kind of stopping here. Maybe we're setting them too early. Yes, we are. We're setting them way too early. Okay. So I need to take all of that and move it into split 1, which is up here. And do that here, I think. There we go. There we go. The top one is not showing for some reason. And that's because split 1 is called by this bottom piece here, which should only be doing the very top. Have I put them in the wrong one? Have I put them in 1A or something? I have put them in the 1A, haven't I? Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Right, so now all we need to do is we need to move that sprite along as we go. So let's get rid of the border color change. Where's the border color change? Where is the border color change? Where have I done it? So it's not in this one. This one jumps to the top, which is here. This one jumps to the middle. This one jumps to A6, it's this one here, 3AA, and there it is. I'll get rid of that. And this is our scroll here, we scroll the chars here, so the very first thing we'll do is we'll and this is going to be really, really simple. This is just basically going to be taking sprite positions plus 0 and subtract our sprite speed. Get that 4. We need to change these values on the fly to add joystick control, but that's what we'll do in a second. If the carry is still clear, sorry, if the carry is still set, then we haven't crossed over. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to load the value in sprite positions +1. We're just going to ignore it with 1, so it just toggles that bit all the time. And there we go. Very easy kind of sprite thing. So as I say, I'm using all 8 sprites here, so this isn't a very practical way of doing things. What you would probably do is you would set a single sprite and then just have a raster which just resets it on every frame, on every raster line. So it's just, you're just reusing the same sprite all the way down. If you're really smart, what you could do is you could design a sprite that you can just stretch all the way down as well, but that's, I mean, that takes a lot more raster time to do. It's probably just easier just to set some splits up that do this as well. Okay, let's add some joystick control in there. So okay, so basically our joystick controller is going to control these values here. So I would suggest that we just need to control this value and set these values accordingly. So first of all, let's just check if we can go backwards. So let's see if these just work. They probably don't. We're probably going to have to make some changes, but that's fine. Let's start by making those changes. Okay, so let's start with the sprite layer first. So start by grabbing the sprite speed. If it's plus, we'll just jump to here. Otherwise, we'll do change that to exit, exit, exit. So this should make the sprite layer smooth. In fact, it's static. Why is that static? Oh, it's because okay. Still need to do the subtract there as well. There we go. Problem is it's not hitting this thing correctly, and that's because hang on, so we take the sprite position, we add our sprite speed, which is a negative value. Okay. Do we need to do the inverse maybe? Maybe we need to do I always get confused with this. Low sprite speed, subtract the sprite positions, and then store that in there. Let's try that. No, and that should be branch count clear. No, it's just holding it steady. Hang on. Okay, this is fine. So, oh, actually, do you know what? Do you know what we can do? This is really easy. So we'll just have a direction value in here. We can change the speeds independently. The direction will decide which way we're going. So this will load our value, and this time add sprite speed. Let's get there and stopping. That's annoying. Wait a minute, load sprite speed. Don't need that. Why is it getting there and stopping? That's annoying. Hide bit, yeah. It should be setting that though in this here. That's what this should be doing. Oh, I need to get rid of that. Oh, no, it's not moving at all. If the direction is positive, go and do this one. So let's just set the direct. Let's just make sure that's going the right way first. Okay, that's correct. So we're going that way. What happens? We take our sprite position, we add our sprite speed, and we do store it. Then we load our upper byte, add 0 to it. Right, that should work. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know why. So we need to RTS here, that's why. It's 2 separate routines. Okay, so then we need to scroll our landscape. So let's have a look at our landscape. Let's see this bit here. In fact, let's move the landscape code out. So let's this is going to need new shift routines, but this is fine. We can fit those in somewhere, I'm sure, because we need to shift the landscape the other way. So let's start by doing that first. Let's and we'll have backwards here. Doesn't really matter about capitalization, let's keep it there. So we're going to copy the same thing here with the RTS at the end, but this time we're going to add and here we're going to do, because this is the shift byte, so oops, don't know what that was. Call that shift landscape back. Okay. Oh my god, this tune. What is this? Need to keep an eye to make sure that our stuff isn't overlapping anywhere. We might just have to move things around a little bit, but I think we're probably all right for this section anyway. So this needs to go the other way. So basically, we don't need to do this because the new column that we're going to be adding on is the beginning of the chart map where we want it, and there's not going to be a plus on here either. And this is going to go the other way. So actually we need to go backwards through these values. So this is 37 more than equal to 0 minus minus, and we need to take the value there and store it there. Yeah, we've just got enough room for that. So now that's going the other way, which is good. And now we just need to do the bottom one. So this is definitely not going to fit in. So we need to, first of all, let's look what we've done here. So we've removed this piece we've moved this loop backwards, and we've removed the additional things on here and switched these two over. So we need to do the same thing on this one, but I think this is the one that's going to need moving, because I think this is going to overlap with our Vig bank. I'm pretty sure it is anyway. We'll see. So get rid of those, don't need those. Switch the zeros and ones here, and run this backwards. 37. So let's just see where that leaves us. I think that's going to overlap. Oh, we've got a crash. Okay, I need to close Sublime and reopen. Does that now and again. Oh, alright, I need to find the Java runtime and close it. This is why I hate Java. JDK platform. Oh no, do you know what it is? I do need to close it and reopen it. I do need to kill this process. So this is something I spent quite a long time trying to figure out last time it happened. Basically, you see this loop here, I'm running it backwards, but I'm incrementing that value, and the assembler just goes into an infinite loop, as it should do. I mean, that's correct. So we are getting an overlap, which is fine. We can just move this this routine to somewhere else. So I think we were safe around about 800. So okay, cool. And so now we just need to implement the shift map backwards as well. Yeah, I hate Java. Oh god, you know, I should keep an eye on chat. You guys are on the ball. Thank you, Furrow. You were correct, but you're right. I didn't spot it at all. Oh, really? So same thing here as we did in this one. We're just going to copy it. We're going to load our direction in. Bunch plus to forward. This is backwards. The herpes approach. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I mean, I do use it now and again, but I'd rather not if I can help it. It's kind of like Python to me. It's a necessity. Actually, that's unfair to Python. I actually hate Java more than Python, so and that's saying something. I just find it's got so much unnecessary stuff on it, and it's not as fast as people think it is. And people say, "Oh, but you can't write a decent back end." I disagree. I can write a better back end, I personally think, in Node than you can in Java. So that's my personal opinion, anyway. Just backwards subtract here. Oh no! Fuck! What am I doing? Subtract here, decrease here. There we go. Oh, there's a lot of people who claim it's fast. Okay, that's going the wrong way. Why is that going the wrong way? Let's make sure it's working the right way first. It's working fine that way. Should just be back. There we go. There we go, we've got the map going the other way. So now all we need to do is add joystick control in. So first thing we need to do is, I'm just going to bring all these together. There's no need for these to be all separated anymore. So just to make sure that if there is no move, there is no move. And then we do some joystick stuff. So if we just take... so what we can do is we can use a little trick here. So we'll set... This will be our initial value. And we're going to store this in direction. And then we're just going to basically shift bits off this. So we don't care about up, we don't care about down, we do care about left. So this is left now. So if the carry flag is set, then we're not pulling left. If we are pulling left, then we load X with... So pulling left means it's going to go backwards, so it's FF, there we go. There we go, we've got joystick control in there as well now. It's kind of nice because this strip of sprites is actually cycling through 512 positions. So you've got the 256 which take up like 3/4 of the screen, then you've got the little bit here, and then you've got a whole chunk off to the side here. So it's like it doesn't come across constantly, it kind of stays off for a little while. Good night, Sinlao. Thanks for joining, dude. Let's see what time we're on. Yeah, we're getting on. That's not bad actually. We've added joystick control and a whole sprite layer in about half an hour, so that's not bad at all. Thank you for the follow, Manara. I'm missing the alerts, unfortunately. So, and Pocket Watch as well. Hi, Pocket Watch. Thank you for the raid. I completely missed that. Goddamn headphone, just not doing its job. I obviously need to find a better way of dealing with it. Thank you very much for the raid, Pocket Watch. It's very much appreciated. If you're still around, or anybody who was on Pocket Watch's stream, let me know what you were playing tonight, what you were doing. And apologies again for missing the raid. I'm just in the zone, I think. Vicentin Dev as well, thank you for the follow. Kosha Golshina as well, thank you for the follow. Yeah, it feels quite nice actually. Do Spider-Man climbing up the girder shooting webs, yeah. I think I'm going to call it there, to be honest, guys. I think that's pretty good progress. I will post a little video of this on Twitter, just to show what we've done, because I've decided I'm going to kind of try and update Twitter so people can see what we're doing on stream. I'll post the code for this on GitHub as well. The link will be in my Discord, which is there. I will sort my alerts out so I can actually hear the bloody things. I'm annoyed that I missed a raid. I can't apologise enough for that. Hopefully you guys have got something out of this tonight, and you can take what we've done here and turn it into something exciting. I mean, this is using a lot of memory. If you were to turn this into an actual game, you would probably not unroll all these loops like we've done here. I mean, you've still got a bit of room, but not an awful lot, to be honest. But if you had a multi-load, if you're using cartridge, you could probably get away with this. Interestingly, the char scroll down doesn't actually happen Oh, the chars are going in the same direction all the time. Oh, let's sort the char scroll out. That's wrong. So char scrolls should happen anyway. So before I move on, let's just get this last bit sorted out, because that's wrong. So this bit, which is the scrolling down, should always happen. So that's this bit here. This needs to always happen. Punchy plus forward, which is this bit here. Otherwise we'll do backwards. And backwards is basically going to be the same. Let's put that in there like that. There we go. Basically going to be the same as this, but in the other direction. And then at the end it's going to jump to end. So this time we're going to shift it to the left. If the carry is clear, then we don't do shifting to the left yet. If we don't do anything, otherwise we can add one. Actually, there's a real quick way of doing this as well, which is shift it to the left and then add 0. Because if the carry gets set, then this will add 1, otherwise it will add 0. So that's a quick way of doing that bit. Hopefully now that should fix that last bit. There we go, it's working perfectly now. Cool. Let's get this raid on the go, and I'll commit all this. I need to sort some things out for the stream for Saturday, but thank you very much for coming along, guys. Let's have a look. Who can we find? If anybody knows anybody as well, please let me know. I struggle to find raid channels sometimes. I'm so annoyed that I missed that raid. Really annoyed. Let's raid Hungry Garaya. I like her. She's quite fun. I don't know what she's playing. It looks like a NES game of some kind. Alright, cheers guys. I'll be online on Saturday as always. Actually, it wasn't last week, but we'll do the last bits of the transition into the bonus count up and start working on getting kind of proper intro and stuff in place so it starts to feel more like a game. Alright, cool. Thanks a lot guys, and I'll catch you all on Saturday. Bye bye.